Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendik's Weather channel. Today we are looking at the latest from the models for the next couple of weeks as the trend continues of continued heat spikes from the models today. So will it come off or will it all come to nothing? And will we just remain above average for the rest of July and it end up being quite a warm or even a hot CET month? Could we see a record breaker? Well, it's got off to a warm start, you can definitely say that. But yeah, we'll look at all the latest and we'll see what they're showing today. So if you do enjoy today's video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate your continued support. And it has been going quite well recently. So thank you all for that. So at the moment, we have high pressure situated just to our south and low pressures towards Greenland. This is the latest GFS 6 said, the American model run. So winds are in from off the Atlantic. Temperatures are, so like right now when I'm recording, so 12, it is 23 degrees, so it's around average, just slightly above average at the moment, nothing ridiculous. But as you'll see in a couple of frames, the wind direction changes, so we actually turn to more of a southeasterly direction as the high pressure moves to our east and over the top of the country, transferring the wind into an east or southeasterly direction. 10-degree ice-firm moving into the country by Saturday, and the 15-degree ice-firm over parts of northern France, so it is beginning to move northwards. And by Saturday, the 15-degree ice-firm is covering much of the country. It is beginning to surge northwards, and we'll have a look at the temperatures in a minute, what they are showing. They're not as extreme as they were showing yesterday and last night's run, but they are still pretty high, and heat wave threshold, so we'll have a look at those. But anyway, so high pressure again continues to sit to our east and surges this heat northwards, the 15-degree ice-firm, moving through the country. Now we have low pressure to our southwest. That could bring in some quite heavy rain. And with this hot air, could bring in some thunderstorms. More on that later. As that moves in, tries to move in. Low pressure from the west. High pressure to our south and east. And also to our northeast. That is a battleground. Trying to bring in this low pressure, this hot, thundery weather, while there's winds in from the southeast, so warm air mixing with precipitation could bring some thunderstorms there. Eventually, with this GFS run, though, that low pressure begins to break through and sits over the top of the country. Very weak, though. It weakens as it moves across the country. Before it moves out to our east, and we're going to more of a northerly direction by the 17th. But again, high pressure is everywhere. It's still pretty warm, even with winds in from a northerly direction, you can see there. So it's definitely a trend of it to remain high pressure dominated. Again, another area of low pressure in the extended range by the Sunday next week is trying to move in, but it just remains out to our west as high pressure begins to strengthen again to our south. Winds in from the south again, to 15 degrees ice-firm into the south. And then by the end of the run, the 23rd of July, the 20-degree ice-firm, you can just make it out if I go here and go UK. The 20-degree ice-firm is making it into the south there. Again, another ridiculous run. You can just see it there. Moving in before it does clear away. But this just shows the potential for more heat. If this comes off 23rd of July, it's definitely possible. And, is seen in the model output. Possibly it keeps hinting at this in a longer range. But you can just see the general trend is for high pressure to just remain everywhere. It's not going anywhere. Low pressure does move in for a time, turning it slightly more unsettled, but I won't call it remotely unsettled. It's just some showers, maybe longer spells of rain, and some thunderstorms, particularly in the west and the southwest. It's not even sure if that low pressure will move through the country unless it weakens quite quickly. So all to be played for within that respect. Next, we'll look at the GM run then. Again, high pressure again to our south and west. Winds in from the north or northwest, keeping it average temperatures to slightly above. Going into the weekend, we see the winds transferring to more of an east or southeasterly direction as high pressure moves to our northeast and east and just brings up that 15 degrees firm through the country through Saturday. Bit early with the GM, but it's always a bit more optimistic. Lifting those temperatures up probably a bit more. 30 degrees showing up on a low res charts, probably around 33-degree highs there with this run. Again, through Sunday into Monday, that area of low pressure is beginning to form to our west, or trying to form. Winds in from the southeast with this one. That'll bring some wet weather maybe to the southwest, and they could be thundery again with this warm air aloft, mixing with the precipitation. This moves that a low pressure to the south, further south, so we don't really get affected by that, maybe a little bit in the southeast. But winds going to more of a northeasterly direction with some relatively warm air aloft, so again, could be a few thunderstorms around with that. Obviously, it's a long way out to look at that. But with this run, it has high pressure actually towards Greenland and Iceland. But it's a very convoluted chart. There's some winds are in from the north or northeast at this point. With this, it's very hard to see that kind of in no man's land. But again, we are still remaining above average. So it's a very difficult one to pinpoint. There's low pressure to our west off the Atlantic. That might move in. There's high pressure to our north. That's going to be trying to force down northeasterly winds. There's also a weak ridge to our west. That could be bringing in a northwesterly. So it's a very convoluted chart, really. But the trend is still for it to remain above average, as you're seeing from these models. Finally, we'll look at the ECM run. Very similar trend again. High pressure moving to our east by the weekend. Winds in from the south or southeast. The area of low pressure doesn't actually move through the country, really. Stays over parts of Western Ireland. Keeps the heat spell alive for a little bit longer before eventually it does break through. But you can just see that low pressure is stuck to our west and northwest. That's going to bring lots of rain to parts of northwest Scotland. Not thunderstorms, I wouldn't expect. There could be a few, but I wouldn't expect too much with that. And that just kind of sticks around the country, really. It's kind of stuck out to our west, high pressures to our south and east, and that's just holding this low pressure's progress across the country. Eventually it clears through, and then another area of low pressure for the north there by the 21st, the third week of June. But with this run, by the end, it has high pressure to our south, winds in from the northwest, so a definite different trend than the other runs are showing, but still, it is a little bit cooler with this run than the other ones. So, bit uncertain in my longer range, but there is definitely the potential for more heat spikes, as you've seen from those model runs. If we look at the GFS 6Z run for London, this is the ensembles. You can see we are looking above average for the whole of the run. There's that big precipitation spike from the GFS with that slider low moving through the south. Obviously not favoured, but it could happen, I guess. But temperatures again remaining above average, or quite highly above average for the next week. Maybe dropping to around average, where that unsettled spell particularly may be affecting the south or the northwest. In particular, depending on how that low pressure moves through the country. Could even be a few thunderstorms, can't rule it out. Before we get in my longer term hints, maybe of more hot spells on the way, as I hinted at earlier. In the third week of June, the GFS 6Z run going to that 20-degree ice again for the south. Temperatures probably into the 30s again. Definitely, the scope is there for another heat spike on the way. So we'll have to wait and see how things develop on that one. Just wanted to look at the UKV, UK Met run, and I'll bring that shot there so you can actually see it from the weather outlook. Again, you can just look at the precipitation. So pretty dry day for many today. Sunny with patchy cloud around and the odd shower or patchy drizzle within the thick cloud today. Looking into Thursday, got a little bit of rain or drizzle for the northwest of Scotland, but nothing too much going on. Friday remains mainly dry with a bit of thick cloud, particularly further north. Saturday, you could see again a few isolated thunderstorms potentially in the southwest. Thereof, like Herefordshire, for example. With the wind in from the southeast, you would not put out the risk of the isolated rumble of thunder with that, so there could be a few thunderstorms. If you look at the Cape, again, there's a little bit around. It's nothing too ridiculous, but there could be the odd shower. It might be something to look out for over the coming days as we get close to the time. Sunday, again, a pretty dry day. Yesterday there was the hint of a few thunderstorms for central Britain, but that seems to have gone on today's idea. Before Monday, you can see that area of low pressure set out to our west and southwest. That's going to be trying to move in to this high pressure block, bringing in the wind from the east. That's going to be trying to bring in some wet weather, maybe even thundery weather from off the Atlantic with a few bits of Cape around. So just something to keep an eye on by the start of next week. So thank you all for watching. So the trend is again for it to remain above average for the next week at least. Maybe turning to around average once again into the start of the second half next week. And well, first off next week, but then it looks like we could see more heat spikes going through the rest of July. Could it end up being a very warm or a hot CET? Could we see a record breaker? I'm not so sure yet, but we'll have to just wait and see how things develop. Thank you all for watching today's video. Sorry about the snotty nose. I guess I'm just a little bit ill today, but what can you do? And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.